The following program is brought to you in part by the film Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace.
This is Charney for the Charney Report, standing in a beautiful site. This is Safad, a very biblical town where a lot of scholars came forward with tremendous learning, with Major General Yossi Peled, who's been the commander of the Northern Command of the Israeli Defense Forces for 5 years. The people in the north consider Yossi Peled Melech Yisrael, really the guardian of Israel. Hinei lo yanu v'lo yishon shomei Yisrael, which means the guardian of this whole territory. I have been with Yossi 2 years ago, and we visited certain kibbutzim and little towns around here. And Yossi is a man who really has transformed the north into a stronghold of the Israeli Defense Forces. He's about to finish his post here, and then he's going on to Washington to study strategic, strategic learning.
Something like that.
I think you should have studied it before, but then you probably wouldn't know as much and it wouldn't be as good. Yossi, I understand you had quite a little raid last night.
Yeah, we had a raid against Fatah Arafat, the PLO targets north to the security zone. It has been made by one of our best units, and the results are very good. We have destroyed 4 cars, 3 strong points that belong to the PLO, one of the training camps that they had, and I'm happy that all our soldiers came back safely.
Yossi, you have a long career in the Army, about approximately 30 years?
It's 30 years already.
I saw a picture in your office where Ben-Gurion awarded you the premier of the Best Soldier of the Year or the Best Soldier Award or something like that?
When I finished my basic officer course, I got my first rank from Ben-Gurion. It's called I was an excellent student in this course.
Now, the country has changed 30 years since you're in the Army. We now have a war between Iraq and the United States, and Israel is sitting on the sidelines. How do you feel as a general?
How do I feel? As long that Israel is not involved in the war, I feel quite well. I don't think that we have to go too far in this question.
We're back with Major General Yossi Peled, the Northern Commander of the Israeli Defense Forces, at his base in Safad, which is a very historical site or historical city. And what I notice here is terrific cleanliness, Yossi. When do they have time to clean if they're always fighting?
You know, the IDF, is all the other forces, is such a big organization that you have enough time, enough manpower to do everything. And I think it's part of military life is keeping a high standard of life, including the cleaning of the camp.
30 years in the Army. What's your best memories?
The best memories? Whenever I participate in a battle or a war, and when it was over and you have the feeling of being on the side of those that win the war, that's a feeling that is very, very difficult to explain. It's very difficult to share with somebody that that was not with you at the same place at the same time. It's a tremendous, a special and outstanding feeling. When you finish a battle, you take it, you win it, it's an outstanding feeling.
What about when the Camp David Treaty was signed? That was not a war, that was a peace. How was your feeling then?
That's from another different point of view. I believe that one of the best strategic assets that Israel can ever have is peace. To be frank with you, when I heard the first time that it's possible to have peace, and I heard that President Sadat is going to come to Jerusalem, I didn't believe. I think it's just a gimmick. It's not true. And I remember myself sitting in front of TV watching and say to myself, it's not him, and suddenly he appeared. I think it was really a breakthrough from the nation of Israel, for the future of this nation. And I believe it's a question of time. It will happen, the same thing will happen with the other countries, the other neighbor countries that we have here.
Will there be peace with Syria?
No doubt. I have no doubt. I am very optimistic about it. It's a question of time. I believe it will come. And the question is when and what will be the price we have to pay until it arrives. And to achieve it, we have to believe, we have to be ready for it, and to be strong to face it.
Our audience may remember we played about a 15 or 20 minute tape on Yossi Peled's life story, which was filmed by Israel Television. It's a fascinating story. Yossi Peled was born in Eastern Europe, or really a Holocaust victim in a sense, because one of his parents was killed in the Holocaust. Yeah. And Yossi was delivered to non-Jewish parents, and he was brought up feeling that he was Catholic. To what age, Yossi?
6.
Till he was 6. I mean, he knew how to cross his heart and do Hail Marys and everything that
I was a real Christian.
that good Christians do. When I came in and sang cantorial songs to him, he thought it was Gregorian chants from the church. I know you revisited, was it Poland, Yossi?
No, it was in Germany. It was the Minister of Defense, Yitzhak Rabin.
No, when you revisited your step-parents.
It was in Belgium.
In Belgium.
Yeah.
And you told me that the emotions were unbelievable in you.
Yeah, it was really an outstanding feeling and outstanding emotions. It was very difficult to come back to a place that many years I've tried very hard to forget and not have any kind of connection for it. And it took me many years, the first time I started to sing about it and to speak about my background, my past. It was when I was something like 35 years old. I was not a kid anymore. It took me a long time. So this meeting with those places was very difficult.
Yossi, the thing that has always attracted me about you is you're basically a warrior who loves peace. And your gut feeling about how will Israelis one day live with the Arabs? How's it going to happen? What will happen?
In this unpredictable area, it's very difficult, Leon, trying to predict or to describe what will be in the future. I believe, I'm sure, I have no doubt about it. It's a question of time that all the nations, all the countries, we should find a way how live together. We have common commercial interests, cultural interests, common cultural interests. It's happened all over the world. It happened in Europe between countries that have fought for many years. It happened in the Far East. It happened all over the world. It must happen here also, and it will happen. I have no doubt about it.
For you, it must have been it must have been very tough for you to see Israelis put on gas masks and worry about missiles. Being obviously a child of the Holocaust, that also brings back memories to you. Is it something that has transformed or changed Israel since these Scud attacks have come, or do you think it's a temporary thing?
I think it's a temporary thing. It was very difficult, very sensitive points of memories to see, not only myself, my children, my family, all this country. Suddenly, in a short time, 2-3 minutes, all the country covered itself with the mask because of gas. And I would say that we also know where these gas come from, where the ability to produce the gas come. It's bringing me back to the idea that.
You mean Germany?
Yeah, I mean Germany, but it's not only the Germans.
French.
It's many Europe countries and the other countries around the world, and we have to remind ourselves as a Jewish nation that we are not on the condition that we can say, okay, we are living in peace, we don't need any more to protect ourselves. We are still in a condition that we must be on a very high standard of alert and be ready to fight for the freedom of the country, for the freedom of the children, of the people here. That was the last lesson we get again. It's not a new lesson. And it's really difficult to see this country covered. But I think that we are strong enough to overcome it. And I believe in a short time we shall come back to normal life.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accords. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high to have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Named by the Foreign Policy Association as one of the top 5 documentaries of 2011. DVD now available on Amazon.com. Get the book that inspired the award-winning movie. Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels is now available in bookstores and online in paperback and an ebook for both Kindle and Nook. It's a great way to learn how history was made behind the scenes. Get it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Be a witness to history. Order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon.com or buy it at Barnes & Noble and get the real story behind the making of the 1978 Camp David Accords. Leon Charney's new book, The Battle of the Talmuds, is now available as an audiobook. This wonderful CD can be ordered directly from the publisher for just $29.95 plus $12 for shipping and handling. Listen as this audiobook explains how Judaism's greatest scholars broke from their own history and gave spirituality to a people without a homeland. And you can also get the audiobook version of Leon Charney's bestseller, The Mystery of the Kaddish. Get a detailed explanation of one of the oldest and most revered prayers in the Jewish religion as Charney's book explains how the Kaddish evolved. Both audiobooks are available directly from the publisher for $29.95 each, plus $12 for shipping and handling. Call 201-944-7600 and order with your credit card. That's 201-944-7600.
Back, this is Leon Charney from Leon Charney Report, talking with one of Israel's major military heroes, General Yossi Peled, head of the Northern Command, about to finish his command after 5 years, who's really transformed the North. He's been accredited by most newspapers and magazines in Israel as being probably the most formidable commander ever to set forth in the Northern Command. Yossi, I understand that when you fought in Yom Kippur War and also in the Peace of Galilee War, you were a scholar sort of in attacking T-62 tanks, which is something that Norman Schwarzkopf, the commander of Desert Storm, will have to face now.
I met the T-72 in '82, not in the Yom Kippur War. It was in the Bekaa Valley. It was the last day of the war, and the Syrian launched a counterattack by the 81 Brigade. It's a brigade consists of T-72.
What is that, a tank built by the Russians?
It's a modern tank built by the Russians. It's the best tank that the Russian has, and I was the first one to meet this tank on the battlefield. And to be frank, at the beginning, we didn't have too much information about this tank. And as an armor officer, I was quite exciting to meet the best Russian, the best Syrian tank. But it took a very, very short time. We destroyed something like 16 tanks in 3 or 4 minutes, and we stopped shooting because a ceasefire took place. It was 5 minutes to 12 Friday noon before ceasefire took place, and it was a very, very, very important experience for us to meet the T-72 and see that we are able to penetrate him. It worked very well. It worked very well.
Is there anything we've given you as much satisfaction, do you think?
Look, I hope so. I must say that 30 years serving in the IDF, suddenly feeling that you are at the end of this period, it's not easy. It's quite difficult, but to everything good you have a hand, so maybe that is the end, maybe. And I hope that the next part of my life I shall have a job that it will be not less interesting than the job that I have done during the last 30 years. I'm not sure I shall find it. I hope.
What about a political career?
Maybe, why not, maybe. But first of all, I have to have a break, I have to sit with myself, I have to sit with my family, I have to rest a little bit. I would say that the last 5 years that I'm here at the Northern Command it was a very, very intensive period. Every day, every night you are on the fan, on the border, a lot of terror activities. So first of all, I need a break for myself, something like 1 year. I hope to to be in the States, in Washington.
To attack Washington.
To attack Washington, yeah, for 1 year. And then, God knows.
People in the audience should understand that Yossi Peled lives in Netanya, but he and his family gave up their home in Netanya to go to live on a kibbutz so that he could be very close to the command here and that he could be on duty or on alert anytime anything happens, which is quite unusual. Most of the other commanders usually would return to their former homes, and this was a very, very notable example which was shown to the Israeli Defense Forces about how a general should take care of his command. He's done some very exceptional things in the Army, and I think they have been well noted. What's important to note, however, is that everybody in the North that we have talked to, and we've done many spot interviews here, have acclaimed Yossi Peled as the man who really has stabilized the feeling in the North, that people feel more secure here, that they don't have to worry every night that their security is going to be impinged. And for that, the government of Israel, the state of Israel, and the people of the North really love this man.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accords. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high. To have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Named by the Foreign Policy Association as one of the top 5 documentaries of 2011. DVD now available on Amazon.com. Get the book that inspired the award-winning movie. Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels is now available in bookstores and online in paperback and an ebook for both Kindle and Nook. It's a great way to learn how history was made behind the scenes. Get it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Be a witness to history. Order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon.com or buy it at Barnes & Noble and get the real story behind the making of the 1978 Camp David Accords. Leon Charney's new book, The Battle of the Talmuds, is now available as an audiobook. This wonderful CD can be ordered directly from the publisher for just $29.95 plus $12 for shipping and handling. Listen as this audiobook explains how Judaism's greatest scholars broke from their own history and gave spirituality to a people without a homeland. And you can also get the audiobook version of Leon Charney's bestseller, The Mystery of the Kaddish. Get a detailed explanation of one of the oldest and most revered prayers in the Jewish religion as Charney's book explains how the Kaddish evolved. Both audiobooks are available directly from the publisher for $29.95 each, plus $12 for shipping and handling. Call 201-944-7600 and order with your credit card. That's 201-944-7600. Immerse yourself in Jewish history.
Amanda had $3,000.
We're on our way to Lebanon. We're traveling with General Yossi Peled and his adjutant and his driver. We're about to approach Kiryat Shmona, which is the northernmost city on the border of Israel. General Peled talking to his soldiers. We're at the border of Lebanon and Israel, and now being presented by a hat from the Israeli Army for my tour of Lebanon. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Morris. This will be our liaison officer. We'll continue with General Yossi Peled, our day in the life of a commander of the Northern Command who's really helped this area stabilize. Okay, the general is entering Lebanon. Being a successful general in the north obviously has its dangers. And when the general enters Lebanon, obviously there are tremendous security measures that are undertaken to protect his life. Here we see General Peled being guarded by two special vehicles to make sure that there are no injuries or no saboteurs or no terrorists that are going to try to attack him. And these soldiers, these four, are available to gun down any terrorist any moment. I just want to know why you've been so successful here. Obviously it's discipline and dedication.
You know, every one of us, I always say that in our stomach we have two persons. One is a nice person and one is a responsible person. You must always, in this conflict between niceness and responsibility, first of all be responsible, then be nice. That's the whole secret.
5 years ago when you came here, did it look the same?
No, a lot of new buildings here. In the security zone, you have more new buildings than in all Lebanon together. In 86, they had more than 100 soldiers being killed. Last year, 19, they have 2.
Oh, the SLA?
Yeah. They were not professional at all. They have not been trained. They were not equipped well. And it was a long process, but we changed basically. You change them from a group of bandits, they became a military organization. They are more disciplined.
We're now in the largest city of the security zone. Yossi Peled tells us that, you don't mind me calling you Yossi,
No,
I even call the Prime Minister Yitzhak.
It's okay.
That 3 years ago there were no roads here. Now look at this, it looks like a boulevard.
That's a new boulevard. It's only 1 year. It's a new boulevard. You will not find it other places.
Look how clean it looks here. This looks like the touch of Yossi Peled again. We're about to enter the command post, is this it?
Yeah.
Of General Lachat?
Yeah, the Pentagon.
The Pentagon of South Lebanon.
Yeah, we call it that's the
Yes,
White
LA.
House and the Pentagon of South Lebanon.
It must give you enormous gratification to know that you have established such a security zone for the benefit of the state of Israel when 3 or 4 years nothing here like this existed. We're back. We've just entered the SLA headquarters. They call it the Pentagon. We've seen something interesting. The soldiers that are guarding us today from terrorist attacks or from sabotage or who knows what have been ordered by General Peled to unload their guns so that an accident may not occur. And if an accident did occur, you could have a, God knows, a ball of fire here. The reverse of what we thought would happen. We are now about to enter General Lahat's command post and see how well General Peled is received. He's basically known as the king of this area, and there are good reasons for it, as you have seen by the pictures here. The general says that he's very upset about the fact that the general is leaving. He's here 5 years in the north. He went through very tough experiences with him. He had special relationships and connections with General Peled to organize the Northern Command to put it in the position that it is today, basically. And not only were they military compatriots, but they were really friends, and that's what's important.
Compatriot, military, and friend for me.
How many forces do you command? How many soldiers?
Between here and Jazin, 3,000.
And how many generals do you have? One general.
One.
General, what's your opinion of the PLO? Yes, so you better translate that. Because
Yeah, what the general said, what do you expect him to think about the PLO? Because of them, Lebanon has been destroyed.
what is your feeling? What is going to happen to your country?
I want asked Bush. Asked Bush why he said me. I don't know. I think
Bush is not a general. He's only president.
he's president, but Bush meant young Bush.
The general said that Bush is now the stronger and the biggest leader in the world. Now he is here, involved here, so a lot of things depends on what the President Bush will make and decide.
The general has said that his dream for Lebanon is that Syria will abandon Lebanon, that Israel will basically abandon Lebanon, that Lebanon will come back to be an independent state, have its own government, have its own people govern them, and that's his dream. We'll be back after a commercial break for this fascinating interview with Major General Yossi Peled, the Northern Commander, and General Lahat, the commander of the SLA, the Southern Lebanese Army, and something that we've never seen before, this terrific cooperation that exists in friendship between the Israelis and the Lebanese, and it's something possibly that the future bodes well for both sides.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accords. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high to have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Named by the Foreign Policy Association as one of the top 5 documentaries of 2011. DVD now available on Amazon.com. Get the book that inspired the award-winning movie. Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels is now available in bookstores and online in paperback and an ebook for both Kindle and Nook. It's a great way to learn how history was made behind the scenes. Get it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Be a witness to history. Order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon.com or buy it at Barnes & Noble and get the real story behind the making of the 1978 Camp David Accords. Leon Charney's new book, The Battle of the Talmuds, is now available as an audiobook. This wonderful CD can be ordered directly from the publisher for just $29.95 plus $12 for shipping and handling. Listen as this audiobook explains how Judaism's greatest scholars broke from their own history and gave spirituality to a people without a homeland. And you can also get the audiobook version of Leon Charney's bestseller, The Mystery of the Kaddish. Get a detailed explanation of one of the oldest and most revered prayers in the Jewish religion as Charney's book explains how the Kaddish evolved. Both audiobooks are available directly from the publisher for $29.95 each, plus $12 for shipping and handling. Call 201-944-7600 and order with your credit card. That's 201-944-7600. Immerse yourself in Jewish history.
We're back. This is Leon Charney in southern part of Lebanon. We're sitting with General Yossi Peled, the Northern Commander of the Israeli Defense Forces, and General Lahat, the commander of the SLA, the Southern Lebanese Army, which has now become a true army. When General Lahat took over this army, it was really a bunch of what they call cowboys and Indians, and it was a militia. And they've transformed it, and as you can see by the compound here, into a real army. And General Lahat commands what we would call a division, and about 3,000 men are under him. While we were talking during our commercial break, General Lahat said that he has made application for a visa to the United States, and for some reason it's been rejected, and we want to talk to the General about that. Yossi, why? What happened? He's tried and he's not succeeded in getting his visa?
General Lahat has tried many times to get permission to go to the United States, and so far he didn't get an American visa. Several explanations, as he has just mentioned a few minutes ago, and so far he has tried again and again and again. It didn't succeed, and what the general thought is it's because of some political reasons.
We all agree that there is a Palestinian issue. It's an issue. There are Palestinians. Do you have an idea how this problem could be resolved?
And I say that in any way, at the end of this process, the Palestinians must get their own country. That's what the general is thinking about the issue. He doesn't say that it may be Lebanon or Kuwait or other countries, but they must get a piece of land to establish their own country. That's what General Lacha thinks about it.
Do you think that there will be peace in this area once this problem is solved?
If we return in the history, all the time we have something. But I think if we resolve the Palestinian questions, this region will be better. Too much better.
Much better.
Yes.
The population here in southern Lebanon, which you control, what do most people do for making a living, for economics? The farmers, how are they making a living?
You mentioned that some of the location organization, like electricity, water organization, are still connection with the Lebanese authorities, and they got money from there. Then he mentioned that every month the Lebanese who works in Israel, and there are something like more than 3,000 workers every month. They brought every month an amount of money like $1 million. Then he mentioned that from the special civilian aids, he got a few millions from Israel to help the local civilian organization here, the salary of the soldiers. So all those factors together are running the economic in the security zone. And he mentioned that the land that he's control is 10% of all Lebanon, but not the population. He has something like 170,000. Between that to 200,000 people, it's not 10% of the whole Lebanese population, because the amount of population in Lebanon is something like 3.5 million.
רוצה לשאול אותך מה יהיה במזרח התיכון אחרי המפרץ.
What will be the Middle East look like after the Gulf War?
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, the United States will push back Saddam Hussein, and that Iraq will be disarmed, and that the United States will then convene a conference to try and resolve the Palestinian issue. What makes it very complicated is that Egypt and Syria, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the Emirates have helped the United States in the war with Saddam Hussein, and they will have a voice in saying what will happen with the Palestinian problem. In my opinion, the ultimate solution of the Palestinian problem will be autonomy, as was brought out in Camp David, yes, which means a passport, a flag, but a demilitarized state or entity. No, there'll be no foreign minister and no defense minister. This would be probably attached to Jordan. This will be the ultimate solution, in my opinion. You understand?
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Thank you for coming to visit us here. You are welcome any moment.
And the next time I come, you hope it's much more peace.
I hope that. Yes.
I think with you here, your people will achieve it. And we thank you for allowing us into your
all
office.
The people in this region look in the peace only. If we have peace, we have everything. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just left General Ahad's headquarters. We have seen the wonderful spirit that exists between General Yossi Peled and General Ahad, and that is probably why the casualty rate and the fatalities in this region have appreciably diminished. It is the spirit, camaraderie, and professionalism that exists between both these generals that have given Israel a more secure border and the southern part of Lebanon a much securer position in its existence. A fascinating experience to meet with the general and have Yossi Peled translate for us. Something you will not see on ordinary TV. Only on the Leon Charney Report do you get exclusives like this. Stay tuned, don't leave us. We'll be back with more of Yossi Peled's travels in Lebanon with the Leon Charney Report.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accords. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high to have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Named by the Foreign Policy Association as one of the top 5 documentaries of 2011. DVD now available on Amazon.com. Get the book that inspired the award-winning movie. Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels is now available in bookstores and online in paperback and an ebook for both Kindle and Nook. It's a great way to learn how history was made behind the scenes. Get it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Be a witness to history. Order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon.com or buy it at Barnes & Noble and get the real story behind the making of the 1978 Camp David Accords. Leon Charney's new book, The Battle of the Talmuds, is now available as an audiobook. This wonderful CD can be ordered directly from the publisher for just $29.95 plus $12 for shipping and handling. Listen as this audiobook explains how Judaism's greatest scholars broke from their own history and gave spirituality to a people without a homeland. And you can also get the audiobook version of Leon Charney's bestseller, The Mystery of the Kaddish. Get a detailed explanation of one of the oldest and most revered prayers in the Jewish religion as Charney's book explains how the Kaddish evolved. Both audiobooks are available directly from the publisher for $29.95 each, plus $12 for shipping and handling. Call 201-944-7600 and order with your credit card. That's 201-944-7600. Immerse yourself in Jewish history.
We're back. This is Leon Charney with General Yossi Peled, Northern Commander. What do two Jews get together and do? They eat. So what we're going to do now is have a special lunch that's been prepared for us by General Peled's friend here in Metula, which is about 2 kilometers from the border of Lebanon. And I'm sure I'm going to be much heavier after we finish this meal. And there you have it, a day in the life of Yossi Peled, Major General Yossi Peled, the commander of the Northern Front of the Israeli Defense Forces. You've seen what he has done in 5 years to regenerate the spirit of the North. And what you've seen basically is a very unique and indispensable gentleman. Although they say that no one is indispensable, I will make a wager that we come back 3 years from now and we'll defy the law of indispensability and show that Major General Yossi Peled was indispensable to the North. We'll see you next week with another show.
שאני הילד, ג'פקי מנדלוביץ', ילד השואה מבלגיה, אי פעם יהיה אלוף בצה"ל, יפקד על עוצבות שריון, מי היה מאמין?
יוסי נולד אל תוך המלחמה, בעיר אנטוורפן שבבלגיה. כמה חודשים אחר כך פלשו הנאצים. כששואלים אותו היום מה זכור לו יותר מכל מהכיבוש הזה, הוא משיב ההפצצות של הגרמנים ואחר כך של כוחות הברית. בן חצי שנה היה כשהסתירו אותו הוריו במנזר. אחר כך תרמו את רכושם למשפחה נוצרית אדוקה כדי שתוציא אותו ואת שתי אחיותיו משם ותאמץ אותם. כמה ימים אחר כך נתפסו הוריו והובלו למחנה ההשמדה אושוויץ. וג'פקה ואחיותיו חיים.
יש לי זיכרונות טובים מאוד מתקופת הילדות הזו, כי גדלתי במשפחה חמה שגידלה אותי ודאגה לי כילד, כתינוק. יש לי זיכרונות טובים, הם היו אבא ואמא לכל דבר, עם החום, עם החיבוקים, עם הנשיקות של ההורים. הם היו אמא ואבא לכל דבר.
הם דיברו איתך פעם על היהודים?
לא, זה הנושא שלא דיברו עליו. אני מעולם לא ידעתי עד שאמי חזרה ממחנה ריכוז, יחד עם הבריגדות, אני מעולם לא ידעתי דבר על יהודים ולא שאני יהודי. בעצם היו לי שתי אחיות גדולות, בנות 10 ו-12, שגם הן ידעו שאסור לספר לי לתינוק שאנחנו יהודים, שהם אני אצא לרחוב ואני אסגיר את עצמנו בכך שאני אולי אדבר שאנחנו יהודים. אני לא ידעתי שאנחנו יהודים.
מה זכור לך מהתקופה שבה גידלו אותך כנוצרי?
אני זוכר את הכנסייה. הכנסייה עד היום זכורה היטב בזיכרוני. אני זכרתי תמיד את היופי, את ההדר, את הטקסים שכנראה מאוד מאוד הרשים אותי כילד. אני זוכר את ההליכה המשותפת של כל המשפחה בימי ראשון לכנסייה. את הלבוש הלבן של הכמרים, את השירה, את המוזיקה. זה דבר שהדהד אצלי הרבה מאוד זמן בראש. אני זוכר גם את הטקסים הקטנים בבית של צלב על הלחם עם הסכין לפני שאנחנו אוכלים, את התפילה המשותפת סביב השולחן. אני זוכר את התפילה במיטה לפני השינה. זה הדברים שאני זוכר מהנצרות ומהילדות.
שנים רבות נצר את הסיפור בתוכו. לא נחשף, לא סיפר אפילו לחברים. יום אחד נשבר משהו. תחילה בכינוס קצינים שהציגו שם סרט על פליטי שואה. אחר כך ליד חיילים קרובים. חברים אומרים לו, אולי הגיע יום התשלום, יוסי. 6 שנים בחיק הנצרות אינן חולפות כך סתם אל תוך השכחה.
יום אחד מופיעים אנשים לבושים בחקי, חיילים, עם אישה שהיא זרה בשבילי. אני עומד מול האישה, והוריי שגידלו אותי מסבירים לי שבעצם הם לא הוריי, אלא האישה שעכשיו הגיעה, זאת היא האמא שלי. זה משבר נורא. זה מלווה בבכי קשה מאוד. אתה מכיר את הבכי של ילדים שהנשימה נצרת להם ונוזל להם העיניים והאף והגוף רועד להם, כי זה גם מוסבר לי שאני צריך עכשיו לעבור לחיות איתה. זה משקע קשה מאוד. זה הדבר קשה מאוד. ולאחר תקופת מה, לא אחרי הפגישה הראשונה, כי האמא הייתה מאוד חולה, היא חזרה מאושוויץ. לאחר תקופת מה היא באמת חזרה ולקחה אותי, בניגוד לרצוני. לא רציתי להתנתק מאמא ואבא, שהיו אמא ואבא שלי. ועברתי לגור איתה. אתה יודע, אני לפעמים, כשהבחור הזה היה בן 5-6, לפני 3-4 שנים, אני הייתי שואל את עצמי מה קורה לילד הזה, אם פתאום יבוא אליו ויגיד לו, שמע, רותי ויוסי זה לא ההורים שלך, אלא מישהו אחר. אני לא יודע איך הוא מתמודד היה עם מין דבר שכזה. וזה דבר שאני נושא איתי עד היום. ההתנתקות הזו הייתה התנתקות קשה מאוד מאוד. התנתקות קשה מאוד.
לאן לקחה אותך האמא?
האמא ברצונה הטוב שכניצולה שחזרה וחוותה את החוויות הנוראיות, רצה לגדל אותי ואת האחיות, לקחה אותם אליה, זה לא הלך. והובלנו לאחר מספר חודשים ספורים לבית יתומים, של כמה מאות ילדים שנאספו מבלגיה, וגדלנו בבית יתומים. ושוב פעם, אתה מבין, עוד פעם התנתקתי ממישהי שהתחילה לטפל בי, ואני עדיין נושא איתי את זיכרונות הנצרות. אני חי בתוך חברה יהודית, ואני כל לילה מוצא את עצמי מתפלל לפני השינה, בחושך כמובן, כי ידעתי שזה בושה בחברה הזו לעשות את זה. יושב במיטה, מצטלב, מתפלל ועושה את אותם מצוות שלימדו אותי לעשות מאז שאני זוכר את עצמי. ואז בחלומות פתאום מופיע ישו. חייתי בתוך חברה יהודית שבעצם אני בעצמי כל הזמן חי עדיין בעולם הסגור שלי שבו גדלתי, בעולם הנצרות. זה לקח הרבה מאוד זמן עד שאני התנתקתי מהדבר הזה.
היה לך קשר כלשהו להורים הנוצרים שלך?
לא היה לי יותר שום קשר, זה הניתוק וזהו. הפעם היחידה שעדיין ראיתי אותם זה כאשר בית ילדים, הבית יתומים, הוא עברנו מבלגיה לצרפת לפני עלייה ארצה עם עליית הנוער. אני זוכר שוב פעם, זו תמונה שאני זוכר שהם באו להיפרד מאיתנו לפני עלייה לרכבת, כשנסענו ברכבת מבלגיה לצרפת. זו הפעם האחרונה שראיתי אותם, אז שוב פעם הייתה פרידה קשה מאוד. עם תחושה, כי הם גם הסבירו לי שזהו, אנחנו יותר לא נתראה אף פעם. דבר שלא נאמר לי אף פעם קודם, ואז בתחנת הרכבת הם פעם ראשונה אמרו לי, זהו, אנחנו יותר לא נראה אחד את השני, וזה שוב פעם קטע שאני זוכר אותו כדבר מאוד מאוד קשה.
ומאז לא ראית אותם יותר?
אני מאז לא ראיתי אותם.
נסעת לבקר בבלגיה? טיפסת אותם?
אני נסעתי לבקר בבלגיה מספר פעמים. אף פעם לא נסעתי לשם. לא היה לי כוח נפשי להתמודד עם זה.
באותו יום של צילום נפלו הקטיושות בהרי הגליל. איש אחד נפצע, ילדים ירדו לבונקרים, כמה לקו בהלם ואחרים בכו. אלוף פיקוד הצפון הגיע ליישובים לעודד, לחזק.
זהו, אז כמו שאני אמרתי קודם, אתם תדאגו שהתרנגולות יטילו ביצים, ואנחנו נדאג שפה לא יהיה לכם צרות ביטחוניות.
הסכמנו.
אתה אומר זה נכון.
זה חוזה חתום בינינו.
זאת החלוקה הצודקת בין הצבא לבין היישוב.
זה חוזה חתום בינינו, אין בעיות.
ובתוך סיפורי ילדות ושואה טסים למוצב קדמי בגבול הצפון. יום קודם נהרגו לא הרחק מפה שני חיילים צעירים. מבעד למשקפת אפשר לראות את הזירה. אפשר לראות גם את הבית, בקיבוץ.
אתה קלבניק. אתה רואה מפה את הבית או?
לא מפה,
אחר כך יאמר האלוף, יש לשמור על קור רוח גם כאשר יש הצלחות, וגם לאחר כישלון, והעיקר ערנות. כשהפציצו אותו אז, כשהיה בן 3 ו4, היה פשוט שוכב בשדה או בחצר ומתפלל חסר אונים לישו שיציל אותו, ממש כמו כל הילדים השכנים שבסביבה.
הבטחתי לעצמי רגישות יוצאת דופן לגבי ילדים. היה לי אירוע בקריירה, בשנת 72 אנחנו ביצענו פעולה בלבנון, אני שירתי אז כסגן מפקד חטיבה ברמת הגולן. ביצענו אז פעולה בלבנון, ובצומת של בינג'בל עמדתי שם עם הכוח שלי, שמעתי שיש אישה לבנונית עם ילדים פצועים בתוך אחד המבנים. וירדתי לראות מה קורה, וגם מצאתי את האישה שם עם הילדים פצועים. חשבתי איך אנחנו מפנים אותם, עצרתי עם מרצדס מקומית עם 5 גברים בפנים, ואמרתי להם, צריך לקחת את הילדים לבית חולים. הם סירבו לקחת את הילדים. צריך לזכור, זה תוך כדי פעולה, יש לך הרבה מאוד אירועים מסביב. אני הוצאתי את הגברים מתוך האוטו, הכנסתי את הילדים לתוך המרצדס והוריתי לנהג לפנות את הילדים.
כשאתה רואה את הנערים הצעירים האלה מתרגלים פה, אילו מחשבות חולפות בראשך?
אני חושב שאני מסתכל על מה שקורה פה, ואני מסתכל על סיפור החיים האישי שלי, יש בזה משהו מן הסמליות, מכוח החיים של העם היהודי.
אני מבין שהמשפחה שלך שילמה מחיר יקר עבור מה שקרה. האמא, האחיות, איפה המחיר שאתה שילמת עבור הילדות שלך בבלגיה?
לא כך נוח לי להיכנס, לפחות לא להיבט המשפחתי עם האמי והאחיותיי שילמו. הם שילמו מחיר כבד מאוד. מחיר כבד מאוד, מבלי להיכנס לפירוט. הם לא חיו אמי שנפטרה, היא לא חיה כאדם רגיל, אחיותיי יש עדיין חיות גם כן שילמו מחירים כבדים מאוד. אני את המחיר שילמתי עד גיל 14-15, בקליטה מאוד מאוד קשה במשק.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accords. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high to have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Named by the Foreign Policy Association as one of the top 5 documentaries of 2011. DVD now available on Amazon.com. Get the book that inspired the award-winning movie. Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels is now available in bookstores and online in paperback and an ebook for both Kindle and Nook. It's a great way to learn how history was made behind the scenes. Get it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Be a witness to history. Order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon.com or buy it at Barnes & Noble and get the real story behind the making of the 1978 Camp David Accords. Leon Charney's new book, The Battle of the Talmuds, is now available as an audiobook. This wonderful CD can be ordered directly from the publisher for just $29.95 plus $12 for shipping and handling. Listen as this audiobook explains how Judaism's greatest scholars broke from their own history and gave spirituality to a people without a homeland. And you can also get the audiobook version of Leon Charney's bestseller, The Mystery of the Kaddish. Get a detailed explanation of one of the oldest and most revered prayers in the Jewish religion as Charney's book explains how the Kaddish evolved. Both audiobooks are available directly from the publisher for $29.95 each, plus $12 for shipping and handling. Call 201-944-7600 and order with your credit card. That's 201-944-7600. Immerse yourself in Jewish history.